Hi everyone, it's good to be back with you again as we continue our Bible study, Faith in the Arenas of Life. And we are headed to the 7th lesson, Jeff Hopper with Greg Hurley. And we have been talking about many ways that our faith in Christ and Christ's reign in our life may be infused through the other arenas of our life. Our 7th lesson, Greg, focuses on something that isn't remembered very often, actually, and that is care for our parents, particularly our older parents. That's the 5th C in your 7 C's of a life that has harmony to it. And the Bible certainly emphasizes this. It emphasizes the need to honor and care for our parents. In fact, honoring your parents is the title of lesson 7. And it puts no age limits on this, honoring your parents. We often read, honor your parents, this is right, and there's it's the first commandment with a promise that you will live this long life. And we think of that as, children. I need to honor my parents. But certainly in the biblical context, the context of the time, the culture the Bible was written in, and obviously with that being a timeless truth continuing forward, that's a no age limits thing to honor our parents. When you have a conversation with a client about care for their parents and some of those specific things, what does that include?
Yeah, no, it can be challenging and a touchy subject sometimes because sometimes there's past feelings or current feelings from past actions where there's unforgiveness from the child to the parent. So then they say, well, if they didn't treat me right, why should I treat them right? And that's really where bitterness can start, and it can be very challenging. I think of what we're called to as Christians. We're called to serve and serve others. And I think of my mom. When I was 14, we moved from Southern California to this little town in West Virginia to care for my grandmother. So from a very kind of early age, I was kind of taught through my mom's actions, not her words, but through her actions, what it means to care for parents. It's really hard though to forgive and to forget. So we do sometimes enter into these conversations, and I try to encourage them. That they're your parents, and you didn't get to pick your parents, and to love them as you would want to be cared for and loved. And I think of my son when I'm older, I would want him to do the same thing. But hopefully I will have showed him how I cared for my mother, so he'll have seen some type of example.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talked in the last lesson about children. Well, no, 2 lessons ago about marriage. That diapers and dishes were a great way to communicate with your spouse. And when we put that in our heads, this is what our parents did for us. In all those years when we could not help ourselves, they were doing the dishes, they were changing our diapers. That basic stuff. But to think, there is a level at which I need to honor my parents because, in a way, they honored me as a child. And for most people, obviously, there are sad cases of ill care, but for the most part, this is a time to give back to somebody who gave us a tremendous amount.
And I think there's a difference between helping and serving, right? So helping is really your interpretation of what they need. Serving is doing whatever they need, right? And so it takes time to understand what the current needs of your older parents are. There was a recent holiday, and I was visiting my mom, and I went to go see her, and she wanted me to cook her a little something, just some eggs, and she's pretty, she wants her eggs not burnt, but not runny, so I'm like, well, I'm going to do my best here, and she just loved them, And, I think I got lucky, but it's really giving them, not just making them in a hurry and doing that. I think that's what happens to a lot of us, because we just kind of, our lives are so much of a hurricane or a blender, we just kind of throw them in there, and then it doesn't work like that. And that's why I think it's important to create this space or this margin that so often gets kind of pushed aside because the world will say, well, no, you got to be busy, you got to work hard, you got to do this. But really, the best people I've seen as far as being able to control their time is really the ones that have built in this margin where if their parents need something, they're there or whether they need to be talked to. Because I think talking to your parents or writing them notes and doing things that you would have done to you or want done for you is really a great way to care for them and show them that you love them and help them finish strong. And that's the whole idea, that they're going to need that encouragement and that love in order to be able to do that.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Greg. We hope this is an encouragement to you as you go forward in Lesson 7 and look at ways that you might honor and care for your parents as they grow older in their lives.